Can Labour stop the boats?
No.
Do they want to?
No.
It's cultural, isn't it? It's ideological.
I think Labour thinks that open immigration is a wonderful idea. I think that I've been saying in the press and on the media the last few days that I've decided now that Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak are actually in a vicious contest vying to be the most mistrusted and disliked political figure in British history. And I think Natalie has just entered the race.
So you're suggesting that what's happened with Labour and Conservatives is that they've become the uni party and that voters don't really have a choice anymore. Two cheeks of the same butt.
There isn't an overtaxed cigarette paper between the two of them at this point.
Reem, you're nodding your head furiously.
I am, yes. And I think what's really interesting about the current state of British politics is that we don't have choice. You know, as a voter, I cannot choose how high my taxes are because both parties are pro-higher taxes. We've got a conservative, so-called conservative government with an almost 80-year tax high, which is what we've seen this week in reports this week, that effectively the tax burden is at an 80-year high, higher than any Labour government since the Second World War, might I add. And what this means is that they are actively driving out business. Then you've got huge amounts of people that are coming to this country illegally, so we've effectively done away with the rule of law. And then at the same time with this over-regulating the housing market, so people my age are unable to buy their homes. Thatcher's vision of a property-owning democracy has entirely failed, and it's this government's fault.
It's Friday night. You've not cheered me up, I've got to say, but you've dropped some truth bombs. Alex Dyke, there is a flip side to this. Labour could easily argue that the Tories have presided over mass illegal immigration and also legal net migration. This is a crisis that the Tories making, and Labour will fix it.
No, they won't. And funnily enough, you mentioned Mrs T. Margaret Thatcher, God bless her, she wouldn't have let this happen.
Would Margaret Thatcher have stopped the boats?
She would have stopped the boats. She would have stopped people in 2001 or whenever it was, 2001, coming through the tunnel like they used to on a daily basis. It's not going to happen. I just don't think the politicians in power or any politicians really have the actual power to stop it. If we took the money that we were spending on bed and breakfast and accommodation for these people that were coming across, and I know there's some very real cases of people that need to get across, but not these young men.
From a safe country like France? Like, I mean, genuinely, can we have this conversation? Why are people that are claiming that they are fearing for their lives leaving mainland Europe?
And risking their lives across the sea to get to Britain. It's not going to happen unless they get really, really tough. And then they wouldn't be winning votes. I think that's what a lot of them are worried about.
However, Homeland Security voices have welcomed Keir Starmer's plan today, Roger, suggesting that actually it is right to tackle the problem at source and to smash those criminal gangs. That is what Keir Starmer is going to do.
Well, I mean, they're quite right to say that, but they're speaking about principles. Like everything else that Labour talks about, they criticize, but they never give you the details. So nobody's got any idea how MI5 agents who should be deployed to do much more important things than...
More cops to police the border, more court cases to actually put these gangsters out of business. And that's what Labour want to do.
What are they going to do with them? Where are they going to send them? Rwanda?
Well, this is the other issue, the cost of Rwanda. That's what Labour are arguing, is that it's disproportionately expensive and that it can't be justified.
Yeah, but
what do you think of Rwanda?
So I actually agree with that assessment, but the Labour Party have absolutely no standing to call for policies that are too expensive. I mean, the majority of the policies they have called for, if any, have been incredibly expensive. But just talking about Rwanda specifically, I mean, the only person that has been sent to Rwanda so far was on the voluntary schemes. They're already being paid £3,000, plus the cost of actually sending them on a commercial flight. I think what's really interesting about this is that we seem to be, you know, so disinterested in the amount of money we're actually spending on these people. And again, as you said, there are genuinely many people that are fearing for their lives, that are being exploited by those criminal gangs. The Labour Party have done the right thing in sort of saying, actually, we need to outbid those criminal gangs. But the way to do it is not, as you said in your monologue, spending more money on effectively the same system that clearly at the moment does not work.
The interesting thing about you, you're very nuanced in your views, and you're quite relaxed about immigration, aren't you? But is it the legal net migration side of it that you're more relaxed about? What is your position on immigration?
So my position on immigration at the moment is that I think that immigration is overall, and this is statistically proven, a net gain to the economy. Businesses like, Lord Wolfson that owns Next last year was calling out for more immigration to effectively plug in those vacancies that are required. There are so many jobs in this country at the moment, and on average, about 5.3 million people are on out-of-work benefits. So at the moment, we've got a system where the government are subsidising people in the UK to stay at home, and businesses need to grow. They need more people working there. If we want the UK to be a dynamic, growing economy, we need more people working
Roger,
there.
you don't look so sure.
No, I mean, look, I came here tonight looking for a good hell of an argument, but the thing is that all of these people are so bad that we can't help the three of us but agree. But on this one, I did an interview with Nigel Farage some months ago.
Name drop.
Yeah, if you Google Farage and my surname, you'll see the interview. The interview was, why are all leaders in the West so bad? And Nigel gives some very good answers. It's because they're career politicians, not people who want to put something back. But I can disagree with something, which is that point. I think that as a moral principle, net migration legally is a good thing, but we've had so many illegal immigrants, so many problems that we need to stop it for a while and then go back to.
I don't buy this argument at all. I don't think it's right to say that we should just stop immigration at the moment and then we'll figure it out later on.
Well, stop illegal immigration, perhaps.
Well,
don't you think, should the boats go to zero?
Well, absolutely. We should be stopping criminal activity and people crossing the channel legally. That's criminal activity.
And then legal net migration. What's a good figure?
But there's no whatever figure the businesses want. And this is the point. You can't sit here and say, as a government, as a politician, I'm going to arbitrarily pick a number.
What about those skivers sitting at home not doing any work? Why do we import labour?
Cut off their what?
We should cut off their benefits. This is the point.
Family show. I misheard you. Yes. What do you think about that? What do you think Reem has to say?
Well, I'm all for cutting off benefits if people aren't putting anything back into the country.
OK, by the way, would you accept £3,000 tax-free to leave Britain? Because I think I would.
Probably at the moment, yeah.
Sorry, it's $3,000 plus free room and board for 5 years.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Where do I sign?